and welcome into another edition of the PHNX D-backs podcast right here on PHNX. My name is Derek Montilla. Of course, I am the mayor of the city of Phoenix. This man next to me, he is Mr. Electric, Shawn. Of course, Jesse Friedman, still out recovering from his hike to what looked like heaven there in the Seattle Pacific Northwest area. It's kind of crazy. Big day today. The MLB dropped their schedule for 2024, and we learn a bit more about who the Arizona Diamondbacks are going to take on here at Chase Field and on the road. But first of all, where do you rank MLB's schedule drops as far as like sports go?
I mean, did they do anything? Like they just kind of
it's just out.
Release,
it's just
right?
Out.
Yeah. No, I
like,
mean, it's lame. Nothing touches football, in my opinion. Like the NFL schedule releases are awesome.
Correct.
The Chargers,
it's like a holiday.
Yeah,
it's a holiday. The Chargers do their anime thing, and their opponents as Pop Tarts that I love.
Oh, they're stepping their game up with the NFL drops. They're getting insane.
The
right?
NHL is the best. The NBA had some pretty good ones last year, if I remember correctly. They were solid, but nothing touches NFL. I mean, you only have 16 games, so it's a lot easier to kind of touch on every opponent as opposed to having 100.
But I mean, we're seeing schedule drops kind of stepped up around all the sports. I saw some of my wrestling friends in a schedule drop for the Henderson Silver Knights hockey team,
the AHL affiliate of your Vegas Golden Knights.
That's right, and they did kind of a Royal Rumble thing where they were throwing out people in the jerseys. I like that. That was very cool. But of course, the schedule for the Arizona Diamondbacks has dropped, and we've taken a look at the season schedule and what it has in store. It's odd because it just looks very tough. It just looks difficult, and I guess that's the life of being in the National League West when you still have to see so many of these opponents. But now next year, the Arizona Diamondbacks have a lot of the American League East. There's a lot, including right away. They have the Yankees right out of the gate, April 1st through the 3rd. This guy couldn't be more excited about going there to boo the Yankees.
I mean, yeah, I'm very excited for that. It could end up being my least favorite 3-day stretch of my time working here, to be quite honest with you, because I hate the New York Yankees.
So it all depends on the results of the game, basically.
Yeah, if their judge comes out here and starts pissing on them, I'm going to be real upset.
Gotta show up against the Yankees.
And I might not come into work because I might be in prison.
It's going to be one of those games where the majority of the crowd, unfortunately, is going to be New York Yankees
I might get in a fight, dog. I will be belligerent. There's nothing in this world I am more passionate about than my hatred for the New York Yankees.
It's not wrong. I mean, it's odd. He doesn't even really like the N and the Y being close together in any way, shape, or form. But
Andy's, like guys named Andy, fuck you.
See, told you. It's kind of
Put more letters in between the N and Y.
The D-backs 2024 campaign starts off with a season opening home series against the Colorado Rockies. So
much better than starting on the road against the Dodgers.
That's better, right? Yeah, but they still get a lot of American League early on. April and May looks pretty tough, actually. Like we said, we got the Yankees right out of the gate after that opening series against the Rockies. We got the St. Louis Cardinals in town. We got the Cubs coming to town. Then we have the Dodgers and the Padres all within that first month, kind of leaking into May there a little bit. But yeah, man, I mean, again, it's fun because I really do like the new schedule format.
Yeah,
being able to look at all these teams that are coming in. Again, all the American League visits from the Yankees, the Angels, the White Sox, the Toronto Blue Jays, and the Texas Rangers all here, right? Yeah, and I mean, their Father's Day weekend is White Sox. Labor Day weekend is against the Dodgers. So just some great stuff coming up. Their final series wraps up, or their final few games wrap up against the Giants and the Padres. So, I mean, it's the Diamondbacks schedule. Like it's hard to rate it because again, now it's just a little bit more robust. I mean, it doesn't seem to be as, I guess, one-sided at times.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say. You look
as this year's schedule has been, where it seems like it's very difficult at times and then very easy.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I mean, you look at that month of April, and you mentioned having the Yankees and the Braves off rip, which is very difficult. But then you get a series against the Rockies and then one against the Cardinals, who I don't know what they're going to be like next year, but they're not good right now. Yeah. And then the Cubs, who are also a pretty middling team, and then the Giants, it's the Giants, so you can't really read too much into that. I mean, you don't know what they're going to be at any given point. But
I can't judge any of this because, like we said, here we are coming up against the Cardinals this month, and at one point we had that pegged for one of the tougher series that the Diamondbacks had, and that's kind of flipped. But
who knows what the Mariners will be? Like the month of April could end up being incredibly difficult or incredibly easy, depending on how some of these teams, like some of the middle of that month, the Cardinals, Cubs, Giants, Mariners, Like they're all teams that could end up being really good or really bad next year, I think.
And we kind of talked last offseason about, the April that the Diamondbacks had. And I feel like looking at their April for next year, it's kind of the same thing. The Diamondbacks can get out of April around 500 or maybe with a little bit of a winning record, or maybe not too much below 500. Things do get a little bit easier, but just not quite as easy as like what we saw in May of this year, where it was like this big reprieve. But who knows how good these teams will be next year or how things will flip around. So it's interesting. And again, baseball, I think just it has so many games. I think that's a reason why it's hard to like hype up the drop of the schedule.
Yeah, and
right?
I mean, again, and like we were saying, things just change so much from year to year. Like I'm looking back at the April for this year. You look at the schedule and you're like, you look at the Padres play. You have 2 series against the Padres, and you're like, oh boy, that could be tough. And then you see a team and the Cardinals, and you're like, oh, that should be tough. Yeah. But then you have a series against the Marlins, and you're like, oh, that should be a pretty manageable series. And then they lose 2 of those. So like the Marlins end up being a pretty decent team. So who knows what next season is going to look like? I mean, the Yankees could end up having a different manager next year. I think Aaron Boone gets fired this year. I hope he doesn't, because I love how bad he is and how bad he makes that team. But it's a matter of time before he gets the boot. So like, not that the Yankees are just going to be tragic next year, I don't think, but you don't know what they'll be going through. Things change a lot.
There's a Jesse Friedman in our chat. Get your shit together. He's watching.
Sorry.
Like, God damn it. Straighten up. Jesse, we'll get very analytical here for you in a moment. No, glad to see that you're back in Phoenix and you made it home safe. I know you haven't been drinking enough water. We'll talk about that when I see you in person. That's not the only schedule that the MLB announced. They announced that they will be having a world tour in 2024. He's not very happy about who they chose to be in the world tour. He's not upset about the world tour, just the teams competing in it. But it is a lot of fun. Obviously, the London series seem to be very popular. I know they're trying to grow the game, and it feels like, of course, it's successful, right? Like going to these other cities makes it fun. It makes it an event. I think it's a little bit like, obviously, like the Winter Classic or something like not. I don't know. I don't know if the NFL games are received as well in like London and stuff.
They are received pretty well. Yeah.
Well, I mean, by the fans over there, I just mean like I don't know if people get excited about it, but I felt like the London series, for instance, between the Cardinals and the Cubs was kind of an event, right? Like
I think it's definitely. I feel like having baseball in international places tends to be a little more rare, right? And also, I mean, you look at a place like Mexico City, for example, and the environment so drastically changes what that game is going to be like because of the altitude there. And obviously, altitude has effects when you play a sport like football, for example, but not in the same way that it does in baseball. I mean, you looked at how that first game of that Mexico City series, and they scored like 8 million runs. Like it changes things. So I mean, plus I love the idea of growing the game, right? Like, especially when you talk about going over to Europe. That's a kind of an untapped market potentially for Major League Baseball. So I in theory love the idea of having international games. Not necessarily thrilled with some of their choices for these international games.
Well, the season opens up with the Seoul Korea series, and that is between the Dodgers and the Padres. That takes place March 20th through March 21st. It's the 9th time in Major League Baseball history that the season has opened up outside of the United States. One of those times, as you may remember, was that disastrous 2014 season when the Arizona Diamondbacks faced off against the Dodgers in Sydney, Australia. They never got their feet back under them that year after that series. So hopefully the same thing can happen to the Dodgers next season. Yeah. I always root for their downfall. But the other series is a series in Mexico City, which is between the Houston Astros and the Colorado Rockies.
Why?
That takes place April 27th through the 28th. How are the Serpientes not in that series?
Respectfully, what person in Mexico City asked for this? Who asked for the Colorado Rockies?
And how is this jersey not going to make? How is it
not even that jersey?
Come on,
we're 2 hours away.
We are 2 hours away from Mexico.
What are we talking about?
What are we talking about?
And the Rockies are dog shit.
It's crazy.
They're not good at baseball. The Diamondbacks are one of the most exciting teams in the sport.
And wasn't at one point the Astros supposed to be the Diamondbacks rivalry team or some bullshit? Or was it the Rangers? Why not the Rangers and the Diamondbacks in Mexico City?
I feel like
why not the Diamondbacks versus the Padres? Serpientes versus the Padres?
Who on the Rockies has anyone are you interested? Who's drawing? Oh man, I really want to see Elias Diaz.
No, yeah, now kind of I do.
But, I mean, okay, yeah, but
aside from that,
stop that. Like, who wants to see the ghost of Chris Bryant?
Yeah. Yeah.
Who cares?
Nobody wants
that. Why are we doing that?
We also have the Mets versus the Phillies June 8th through the 9th in London.
That's awesome.
And then probably the most interesting series during spring training, we'll have Red Sox versus the Tampa Bay Rays March 9th through the 10th in the Dominican Republic.
That's awesome.
That's going to be incredible.
You got to imagine David Ortiz will have a big presence there.
Oh, God, yes. He needs to be the full-on ambassador. Right?
Rafi is Dominican, I believe, too.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So
Michael says we're clearly choosing violence against DNVR Rockies today. We choose violence against DNVR.
It's not nothing to do with DNVR. They're doing their job.
Yeah.
This is MLB's decision. I'm not going to blame them for getting picked.
Yeah.
This is MLB being stupid, in my opinion. I don't understand it. I would put. There's about 2 teams that
you can't let Susie Hunter go to Mexico. I'm just saying.
Oh my God!
You can't let Susie go to Mexico.
Just make sure she comes back if she does.
I'm just saying. That's a recipe for disaster, right?
I will say the last time that an Arizona team had a game in Mexico City, coach got arrested. So maybe there's a good reason for it, but I would argue that maybe the Royals are the only team that would make less sense to be in Mexico City than the Colorado Rockies.
Okay.
I don't understand that.
He's not going to not be upset about this.
I'm so upset about it. And it's not even, it's part of it is that the D-backs make a lot of sense to be there. The other part of it is that the Rockies make no sense.
Is there one team on the Diamondbacks schedule for next year that you're specifically excited about seeing here at Chase Field?
I mean, you know the answer to that.
Who is it?
The Yankees lose. I hate the New York Yankees very much. Also very, very hyped because it's probably like my favorite team that I don't root for. I don't know how to explain it, but I love the Toronto Blue Jays.
Yeah,
so very much.
That's my
favorite. Love those players.
Actually what I'm
so I'm so excited to see Vladdy Jr. and his wagon of an ass at Chase Field. I mean, I've said it before. I obviously lived in Buffalo, grew up in Buffalo. I watched so many of the Blue Jays play minor league baseball.
Yeah.
So I have a soft spot for a lot of those guys, that team. So I'm very excited to see them here.
But he's mostly excited about seeing Vladdy back that thing up.
Oh my God, that ass is such a wagon, dude.
It really is a wagon. Will the D-backs remain a wagon? Remains to be seen. Next year, the end of this year, I can't wait to watch. But one thing I will be doing is I will be continuing to bet on this team on the BetMGM app, including lots of player props on Corbin Carroll because that man continues to deliver. You can swing for the fences with BetMGM's free-to-play game. Swing for the fences lets you pick an area of the strike zone. You'll single, you'll double, you'll triple, or your home run. Or you can pop out and you'll receive a prize associated with that type of hit. You can play it once a day. Prizing must be used on MLB and expires in 24 hours. This game can be played through this season until September 7th. And again, just make sure to log into your account and choose that option. You will get a prize that can give you a boost on further bets. So make sure to get down again on betting on those Arizona Diamondbacks in the second half. If you haven't signed up for BetMGM app yet, use bonus code PHNX. There's a few different offers depending on where you live. But for our Arizona audience, you can place your first bet offer and receive up to $1,000 in bonus bets if it loses with BetMGM. Again, make sure you use bonus code PHNX. Check out the show notes for full details. And now listen to Shane talk about the disclaimer.
Disclaimer, 21 plus to wager. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. U.S. promotional offers not available in Washington, D.C., Mississippi, Nevada, New York, and Ontario. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Colorado, D.C., Illinois, Indiana, Louisiana, Maryland, Mississippi, New Jersey, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia, West Virginia, Wyoming. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369, New York. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP, Arizona. 1-800-522-4700, Kansas, Nevada. 1-800-327-5050, Massachusetts. 1-800-BETS-OFF, Iowa. 1-800-270-7117 for confidential help, Michigan.
I just told you I want to sing the Canadian. Michael pointed out like how often do we get to hear the Canadian national anthem at Chase Field? It is. Listen, respect the troops. I'm a patriot. It's so much better than the American national anthem. It's not even close.
Wow.
Like the Canadian national anthem fucks, and I personally, I don't think it's that hot of a take.
You said anthem fucks. That's incredible.
It does.
That's an incredible.
Oh, Canada goes crazy, especially if you know the French. You can get a little. Si vous play in there. That's not.
Do you know the French version?
No. But I will learn it because I want to sing it at Chase Field.
There you go.
I not really patting my, not really sitting here trying to hype myself up. I was a singer in high school. Yeah. I was a part of an audition-based singing group that got invited to sing at the Vatican in high school. We didn't go because it was expensive to fly to Italy as a high school kid.
What is happening right
now?
But
I was a singer, man.
I continue to amaze me.
I've got some chops. I'm not sitting here.
Jesse plays piano.
I don't understand.
Bro. You have anything to contribute musically?
I can drum. Kinda.
Okay.
I mean,
we got a band going.
Latin, I can get a beat. I was gonna ask, can I throw out the first pitch when you sing?
I would rather do that, personally, that right there is a dream.
That's a dream.
You don't get anything. I
my
sing and
God.
throw out the first pitch because I'm well-rounded.
That's
I'm a Renaissance man.
That's rough. That's rough, but
No, but genuinely,
fair.
Start the campaign.
You are the
Shawn
MVP.
DePaz singing "Oh Canada" at Chase Field. I very genuinely want to do it.
I mean, just tune into this network on Fridays, and that alone should convince you that this man deserves to be singing whatever he wants to sing and throwing the ball wherever he wants to throw the ball because he's our MVP and he deserves it. Of course, if you are here in the PHNX Sports YouTube channel, we thank you for being here. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't done so already. Leave us a little thumbs up just to praise Shawn for all of his talents. If you're listening on the audio podcasting side, please subscribe to us there. Leave us a review. We always appreciate the feedback. If you haven't signed up for a Diehards membership, do that today. Not only does it pay for itself instantly with benefits from our partners like Mountain Mike's and Dobson Ranch Golf Course, you will also get a free piece of merchandise from phnxlocker.com and 20% off all future purchases. You'll get benefits like discounts from our partners. You'll get access to Jesse's newsletter, Full Count, and all of the newsletters for all of our writers here, as well as invites to special events, invites to for exclusive merchandise, and so much more. You'll also get discounts on events like our takeover event coming up here July 25th. I saw some of you guys talking about it, of course, in the chat. We are excited for our next takeover event because this is going to be incredible. We are going to have a burger bar. We are going to have all sorts of incredible the drinks.
Yeah,
I confirmed that the free drinks include alcohol. They
peaks.
said I specifically did not believe that, and I'm still skeptical, but it includes alcohol. So make sure that alone pays for your ticket, and then you get to hang out with us. We're going to have little tiny burgers.
Damon, do we have a post game show that night?
We will not have a post game. We do not do post games any longer on Takeover days.
Thank you. I was going to say
we are here to hang out with you guys.
Damon, we might need to get fucking
hammered,
buckled, baby.
Yeah. Okay, sounds good.
We're all taking Ubers home that night.
That's why I might need to bring the glove because if I'm buckled and a ball comes near me, the bare hands are not getting it done.
That feels like a good idea for safety reasons.
I'm totally down.
You have that graphic for the takeover? Yeah. I completely forgot off the top of my head, but here it is. Of course, you diehards get that $48 price, $60, regardless of what you're paying. You're getting a deal here because it includes a ticket to the game, pregame meetup with us, and of course, the drinks and burger bar at Cold Beers and Cheeseburgers.
I'm ready to drink $48 worth of alcohol from the free.
That's not very hard.
No,
right?
I mean, you think about how expensive a beer at a baseball game is?
That's 4 beers, yeah? I mean,
less than.
Right? I mean, right there. Well, I mean, if you're drinking your ticket price, right? And then the ticket's free, the burgers are free.
Meeting us is free.
It's all depending on how you look at it. Yeah. So yes, free beer at the next takeover.
Or free baseball.
Nicholas says, yes, that's going to be a fun bender. Let's go. 2024 takeover schedule when from Connor? We'll have that for you soon. We got this schedule. We get to plan our schedule around that, but we'll make sure to do that around some fun games.
Yankee series.
He's convinced. We're doing the Yankees
and that Toronto series.
Let's go. But of course, we thank you for those of you that have already signed up for a diehard membership, and those of you that have grabbed those takeover tickets. They won't last long, so if you haven't grabbed one yet, make sure to go do so now, because of course we only have a limited number of those to offer. So make sure to get down on that.
Get down on it.
Get down on it.
Well, I really want to sing the Canadian national anthem. Like I'm
You're stuck on this.
I really very much want to do it next year.
All right. Well,
I don't know who. You probably know better. I don't know who I got to get in contact with.
No, I got some people. I can put you in contact.
I am not joking. Like it would be.
I got a lot of guys.
Such good content. It would be such good content.
Would you go on the field in front of 20K?
Yes. Yeah, I'll sing. Yeah, absolutely.
I respect that. I couldn't do that.
I could not either.
It's a lot easier for me to say now when I'm in a room with 2 other people, but I've sang in front of crowds before, so I mean, I don't. And "Oh Canada Fucks," dude. It's a great song.
That's the third time I believe you said that.
I'm gonna do it, man.
Anyway, moving on. Major League Baseball Players Association wants to soften the pitch clock rules come the playoffs. It's interesting because it's a request that comes in. They don't want it gone completely, but they do want basically to change it so that in pivotal moments, high leverage moments, late in playoff games, and moments that could potentially be decided by some sort of pitch clock violation, that maybe we include adding some time to the clock, approving extra timeouts or disengagements, or any number of other ideas that, according to MLBPA Executive Director Tony Clark, he said he would give to players so that they had a chance to breathe in these big moments. Here's what Clark had to say on Thursday. He said, "I don't think there are too many folks that want to have a new rule affect a game in a pennant chase or in the playoffs, there are adjustments that can be beneficial. What are your thoughts on that? Because I mean, I kind of hate this just because of the fact that, like, one, it doesn't really seem, now that we are in July of the season, this has been implemented, like this is even a thing that comes up. It doesn't mean that there still aren't some moments, right? And those moments do kind of can take place at a high leverage time during the season, but it's not like it's happening. It's not like it's rampant. It's not like it's something that the pitchers and players haven't adjusted to. I don't see a point to changing it, in my opinion. And I know this might be a bit far-fetched of a view, but it's like adding time to the shot clock in basketball during the playoffs. That's kind of what I feel like it is. Like, oh, we're going 30 seconds just to give you guys more time or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I understand the arguments for both sides. I have been on the train for a while that, like, playoff baseball should be the purest form of baseball. Like, it shouldn't be about how long it takes
no ghost
or anything.
Runner,
no ghost runner. Yeah, like it should be baseball. We're trying to figure out who the best team in the league is. So there's that. That being said, I would rather them keep the rules exactly as they are than just kind of soften them. Like I think you got to go one way or the other. You get rid of them all. You completely abandon the regular season rules. Most of them, not all of them. Like you're not tricking the bases back, right? Like you're getting rid of the pitch clock. I would even be fine with getting rid of minimum batters faced.
What about
disengagements? Shifts are different for me because to me, not having shifts is a pure form of baseball. Like I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like I'm this massive baseball purist, but
no, I get you.
To me, there should be 3 outfielders, 2 guys on each side of the base. Like that is. I have always been anti-shift, so
fair enough.
That one's a little different for me. But as far as pitch clock, disengagements, timeouts,
that really feels like what they're focusing on. It really feels like what they're focusing on are the things that could all of a sudden get a batter a strike in a big moment instead of them actually swinging. And I'm not gonna
sure, it may have not we might have not seen a game get decided by this yet, whatever, but to pretend that it hasn't happened is ridiculous. We saw it in the Phillies series, like Craig Kimbrell, who is the closer for a team that has a good chance of making the playoffs, or was in the World Series last year.
It's an Achilles heel for him.
He struggled with it a lot.
It really feels like it is impacting his game. And
and even though they won that game, we got base runners because of his struggles with, if I remember it correctly, or at the very least, the season, the inning got extended because of his struggles with the pitch clock. Like, it has affected game. It has happened. And I don't want it to have effect because I get that it's going to have much different optics if it happens in the final out of a game. But the reality is regardless of where it happens in a game, it's affecting the outcome of a game. Which, again, I'm fine with because there's 162 games. Like, you have to do things to make the regular season a little more entertaining, speed it up a little bit more, whatever. But in the playoffs, it's a different animal, man. I don't think there should be anything affecting how the game gets played or managed in an artificial way. It should just be, like I've said, the purest form of the game in the playoffs.
I agree with you, and I think according to Commissioner Rob Manfred that they're leaning in that direction. This is what Manfred had to say. He said, in general, I think you ought to play the postseason the way you play the regular season. We are comfortable the way the clock and the violations, particularly late in the game and high leverage situations, have been managed. And see, that's the thing I agree with. Is we've seen the benefits, and honestly, I don't think it is part of the game.
Yeah.
The way that a fucking player fouling out in NBA is part of the game, or a player receiving a red card is part of the game. That drastically impacts the game, right? And it sucks because you don't want to see that. You don't want to see a guy foul out and then not be there at the end of the game.
Those rules feel different to me.
No, I get it, but I'm just saying it's along the same lines where it's yes, I understand it's something that in some cases might cause a shitty situation in a high leverage playoff game or a high leverage pennant chase. However, it's a rule that they've implemented and that teams have accepted and have been able to adjust and play. I mean, I don't know.
I mean, this is not something a hill I'm going to die on. If they don't change the rules at all, I'm not going to be bothered by it. Yeah. I don't think ultimately that it's going to end up ever deciding a game, really. And if it does, you've been playing a whole year with those rules. You should know better. I'm not. While I do think, like I said, I would rather a pure form of baseball. We all know it's not like they're springing these rules on you for the playoffs. We all know what the situation is.
Sure.
If you can't get on the mound and deliver a pitch in 15 seconds, wherever it is, that's on you at this point. you've had a whole season to get ready for it.
I think from my perspective and from being a person that is a fan of the Diamondbacks and covers the Diamondbacks, I feel like they, that they have an advantage when it comes to the
that's also
pitch
true,
clock, right? So it's like I personally don't want them to go away because I don't want the Diamondbacks to lose the competitive advantage that they've had. And that's not really fair to take that away.
Yeah, you built a team for the rules of all regular season.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. No, I agree with you 100%. And also, like, as far as the statement from the Players Association, like I kind of got it earlier, softening the rules seems like a terrible idea. Because if it's not a very clear, like, this is what the rules are, and there's any kind of room for interpretation or differing in how different umps enforce it, like, that's the worst case scenario in my situation. It's got to be equal across the board. Yeah. If there's any kind of wiggle room or gray area, then I think you're opening up a can of worms that you don't want to. It could be way worse than having a game decided by a violation.
Manfred kind of walked his comments back a little bit too. He said, we don't want a postseason game decided on a violation. We haven't had a game decided that way so far. I understand it's a possibility.
Yeah.
And it is a possibility, but it's not super likely.
Look,
you know what I think that they're going to do? I think when they soften it, they're going to do something like add 5 seconds to the pitch clock and give them an extra engagement. I think
that would be fine. As long as the rules are clear in the way they're changing it.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with that necessarily because, like, I don't really think that's changing it's obviously changing the rules, which, like we said and Manfred said, that you only want to avoid, but it's not. It's changing the rules that are in place. It's not adding or taking away rules.
Yeah.
So I don't. Regardless of which way they go about this, I won't have that big of a problem with it. I think it's a little. We're obviously being a little nitpicky at this point.
No, we are, but I think it's one of those things that we are in the first season that these rules have been implemented, and so far they feel like a success.
Yeah, I agree.
It doesn't feel like in any way that they need to be changed for the playoffs.
My only thing about it though is that, like, the whole purpose of these rules was to shorten the game. I don't really want playoff baseball to be shortened. Like, I like long playoff games.
And that's probably how they view it too.
Yeah,
right?
so
like, they don't need to shorten playoff games because the longer they go, the more ad revenue they can get, the happier fans are to be there at a longer game playoff game.
I would be interested to see. I'll just be interested to see how Manfred and MLB goes about this, because
I just think it makes the rules feel important. Unimportant. Like, they just we're just doing this for this purpose of speeding up the game.
I agree.
Rule changes are rule changes, right? And I mean, so far the things they've done with the shift, everything they've done seems so far like it's a positive change. So I don't know. I just want to see them continue to stick to their guns and not feel the need to make to make any kind of drastic changes. But if they do something small, like I am kind of thinking they might. A 5 second longer.
I don't know if I said
something to try to get that out, so that the violations doesn't happen, but they still keep.
Yeah, I don't remember if I said this on the air. I said it to you before we went live, but Nicholas was kind of getting at something I said too. Like, is maybe take it away at the end of the game, 9th inning or 8th inning and later. Like, because I mean that's like,
see, that feels to me crazier. Like, that you're going to change it as it gets later in the game. Like, that to me, like, just feels even more like we're just changing. I get that. You're getting very specific almost. Yeah, right. I understand that. I just, like, man, especially if you get the extras, like, I don't know. Nicholas in the chat says it definitely isn't necessary for playoff games to be 2.5 hours when there's 162 games, definitely. But these, you got to get a winner the right way regardless.
Yeah, that's my mindset is if Craig Kimmel wants to get up there and take 20 minutes in between pitches, we're playing playoff baseball, man. We're trying to figure out who's the best.
I think when you start having gambling involved and you have odds makers involved, there is a level of, like, fairness and equality that you want even during the playoffs versus the regular season, because you want to be able to know what teams, you don't want to know how those, you don't want it to be a wild card on how those teams are changed by the change of rules.
Yeah.
And again, that kind of impacts, like, what we were talking about with the All-Star game, right? The reason why they had to have replay in the All-Star game is people are betting on this stuff, and the last thing you want is, like, Lourdes's home run to become some sort of weird controversy just because people are mad that they bet on him going under on home runs and he ends up getting the over, right?
Yeah, 100%. I don't know. I think in a perfect world, like I said, it's the purest form of baseball. But Karen also getting at something that's a very good point. Like, and we've been talking about is, like, it's
Get them in
we
a
talked
routine
about at the beginning
it.
of the season how guys maybe struggled a little bit to get used to it, and then you're going to finally get them used to it, and then have to go through that all again in the playoffs when the stakes are the highest. Like that ultimately might even be worse. Is having guys have to figure something out again in the postseason after they've played 162 games. Like that doesn't make any sense to me, especially from a pitching perspective. So I think ultimately I'm falling on the side that you just got to keep the rules the same. I don't think it's worth the trouble or the hassle of changing rules just because of the playoffs.
I agree. Well, if you guys are here in the chat right now, we told you yesterday we were giving away one of these beautiful Father's Day shirts from the Arizona Diamondbacks. So you know what? Let's give that away now, or let's give everybody an opportunity to hop in there. What are we doing? We're dropping a snake emoji. Snakes in the chat. Snakes all over the place. So drop a snake in the chat, and I will add your name to our wheel of names, and I will give somebody, one lucky person, this extra large Father's Day shirt. So let's go. Snakes in the chat.
I've been told I am not allowed to put a snake in the chat.
I told you already. I'm sorry, but I can't. But I'll tell you another thing is to make sure to check out the official craft beer of the Arizona Diamondbacks. It is Four Peaks, and it is wonderful. They have a wide variety of flavors for you to choose from Rattle On Red Ale to all of their wonderful varieties you can check out. You can check them out at the Four Peaks Draft Room at Chase Field when you're there. You can make sure to follow them on Twitter at Four Peaks Brew, or go to fourpeaks.com/events to stay up to date on everything Four Peaks, and make sure to check out, of course, that draft room, because it is a wonderful place to watch a baseball game. Also, Four Peaks for Teachers. They are still giving teachers every Tuesday a chance at their 8th Street Pub to relax and unwind. They are every Tuesday through July. You bring a valid teacher ID and you can receive $4 pints of Kilt Lifter, Wow Hazy, and Hop Knot. So make sure to check that out if you're a teacher, and we thank you, of course, for what you do. Check out Four Peaks Brew or at Four Peaks Pub to keep up with the latest. Arizona's hometown brewery. Must be 21 or older to drink Four Peaks, and please drink responsibly. And also check out our friends at OG's Brands. You know why? Because they have a solution for every problem in life. They really do, right? I have never slept better since I started partaking in their Aquaberry sleep gummies. And what I mean by that is their gummies got me back on track to where I don't even need them anymore, and I can now get a solid night of sleep. I feel like you get in a weird schedule. I don't know if any of you are like me, but when my wife had to get up at 5 a.m., that became the time I woke up. Whether it was the weekend, whether she was up at 5 a.m., it didn't matter. Whether she was off, whether she had to work. In my brain, 5 a.m. was the time that I went. It was almost eerie how accurate my brain was at knowing it was 5 a.m. and waking me up, right? So it was like, God bless OGs and their Sleep Edition gummies. They are delicious. And of course, with their CBN to THC 2-to-1 ratio, they flavored my dreams and they helped me get a great night's sleep. They have wonderful varieties like their Happy Balance and so much more for you to check out. Of course, if you're exhausted and sore after a hike, can't recommend more. The Therapeutic Pegs RSO Rick Simpson Oil gummies, they have you covered. But make sure to check out the Pink Lemonade Limited Edition gummies drop in just for summer. So make sure flavoring life is what you do. Flavor your life. And flavoring life is what OG's is all about. So make sure you check out their wide range of flavors and functions. No matter what it is you need, OG has a gummy for it. Check out OG's online at ogsbrands.com. or on Instagram at OG's Brands. You can also find their product at your local dispensary. Must be 21 years or older to purchase. And of course, enjoy responsibly. Now, let's take a look at the upcoming probables, which we don't have a lot of information for. What do you think here? We got Ryan Nelson kicking things off, and Zach Gallen is back there in the middle.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting to see who the Blue Jays will end up having, but
nobody so far.
Yeah, well, so we'll see. It's kind of hard to look at this from like a matchup perspective, but I mean, this is a trio that's been decent. Like, I mean, you don't know what Ryan Nelson and Tommy Henry are going to get.
Yeah, you really don't, right? That's kind of the biggest problem.
I kind of like the two of them being in this first series since after the All-Star break. Like, give them the opportunity to really get the second half going on a strong note. Because I mean, baseball is 2 seasons in one. Like, so often it's before the All-Star break and after the All-Star break are two very different stories. So hopefully, we get a chance to see Zach Gallen have a good road outing. It's going to be at a little bit of a weird time. It's 4:07 this time, and that maybe 2-hour difference from when evening game normally is might you don't know. We talk so much about Gallen and his being a creature of habit and how the times mess with him. Like maybe that ends up being a little bit of a weird outing for him. But hopefully, like I said, we get to see the second half be a string of good road performances from Zach Gallen. And then hopefully we get some consistency from Ryan Nelson and Tommy Henry.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good thing to see Zach Gallen there in the middle.
For sure.
And I don't know, man. Like Tommy Henry has become fairly reliable. I feel like Ryan Nelson still is a bit of a mystery, but I kind of like him going in the first game because of the rest of the bullpen.
Yeah,
right?
exactly, 100%.
I'm curious what the Diamondbacks are going to do going forward. The series beyond this is just interesting to me. I don't know how many more bullpen starts they can make it through, especially with Dre Jameson potentially lost for the season. He's on the 60-day IL, so even if he doesn't have Tommy John surgery, he's still going to be gone for quite some time. So, but yeah, the Blue Jays obviously still are trying to figure out how their guys are going to land and shuffle, and I wouldn't even be surprised to see this potentially change. But Merrill Kelly should be back, so that's a big thing for this team right now. Does
this mean we get Zach Davies at the Braves?
Yeah, we're probably going to get Zach Davies at the Braves. Yeah,
oh God, no!
And then probably get Ryan Nelson also. In that
maybe
series,
that's the one that does it though. Maybe the 18 runs he gives up in his first inning of work against the Braves is the one that gets Zach Davies off this roster.
I don't know what they're going to do going forward, to be honest. Like they really do have some things to shore up. And of course, we're going to be talking about the trade deadline between now and August 1st, and anything that happens, we'll have you covered. But this is going to be interesting as things come down, because the Diamondbacks really can get a couple of more starts out of Zach Davies. And if he can be at least serviceable,
just okay. I mean, like his last start wasn't, it should have been good enough. Right. So maybe, he just needs to be the number 5, or the 4, because obviously, like we said, Nelson's a little inconsistent. But
give us 5 innings of 3 earned runs. That's all we can ask.
And if the offense doesn't do enough, then we'll be bad at the offense, not you.
Yeah, fair enough. That's a promise we'll make. We will be bad at the offense and not use.
Give me 5 runs, 5 innings, 3 less runs, 3 or less runs,
3 or less. Yeah, we'll be good. But of course, we know what the standings look like in the NOS. We don't want to look at those right now. We don't really like the way that they're phrasing those winning percentages right now. But we do want to look at our All-Star break, All-City division standings, because, of course, we're still doing pretty well there. Those Cubs, they still stay within single-digit games back, but I feel like we're going to be able to hold on to this lead. The Diamondbacks, though, again, have a very tough schedule coming out of the All-Star break. So it's a good time for them to rest up and get right. Good time for their bullpen to kind of get reshuffled a bit and kind of back in order. They did make a move today. They're bringing Tyler Gilbert back, and they sent Carlos Vargas back down. So we didn't get a chance to see the young man that can throw very, very fast. But of course, this is still good to look at.
Yeah.
Right now, for those of you listening on the audio side, Diamondbacks have a 9-game lead over the Cubs, 14.5-game lead over the Chicago White Sox, and an 18-game lead over our friends at DNVR.
Only thing that worries me is those damn Cubbies in that sorry-ass division they play in. The Cardinals are going to manage to get somehow worse. Yeah. They said that they're planning on selling and focusing on next year. So
Nolan Arenado, we have a home for you here. We're just saying.
Just Paul Goldschmidt, Nolan Arenado for Brandon Pfaadt,
Zach Davies,
Pavin Smith. Who says no?
Nick Ahmed. Why not? I don't say no.
I'll throw in Drew. You know what? If that's what it takes,
we'll give you Jesse.
Yeah. I don't like either of those. You guys pissed me off. We're talking too far.
Arenado and Paul Goldschmidt.
My God.
Paul Goldschmidt gets to just DH at that point, right? Because you're no reason to put. He doesn't got a better glove.
Just imagine if your choices at first base are Christian Walker or Paul Goldschmidt. Just imagine for a second.
I feel like Paul Goldschmidt would embrace the opportunity to just have to hit.
Yeah.
Right.
I think so.
And every time,
who wouldn't? Who wouldn't?
Yeah, right.
Isn't that the best part of baseball?
Yeah, but Christian Walker's terrific defensively, I'm sure, and like Alec Thomas, I'm sure they relish the opportunity to make plays defensively. I don't know. Paul Goldschmidt seems like he might just like hitting the ball.
Christian Walker still leads all first basemen in defensive runs saved, and probably will for the entire season because he is incredible. Connor Mormon says ASU commit Nolan Arenado want to finally come play ball in the Valley. That's what we're hoping for.
My theory is the conversation between him and Geraldo Perdomo, only 2 things. Either he was talking to him about coming to Arizona, or Perdomo was asking tips on how to play third base, so they can put him at third base, be every day, cut Nick Ahmed, bring up Blaze, and then you have a real infield.
There you go. I like that idea. Let's give away a shirt, shall we?
Let's do it.
You ready? You rock and roll. Last call. If you haven't dropped a snake in the chat, I have everybody, I believe, so far. But if you want to be entered into our drawing for this wonderful Father's Day shirt, go ahead and drop a snake in the chat now. I will make sure to add you. I think that there's a couple of people in the chat that have not left a snake.
Snake it up.
Snake it up. All right. And if you have a Father's Day shirt, then don't be selfish. Let someone else win it.
I don't have one though, and I'm still considered selfish for wanting to have it.
You're still not allowed to be in here. Sorry. All right. Last call. I am going. Oh wait, someone just dropped one right now.
Snake.
We got Gabriel and Brett. Okay, there we go. I was wondering where you guys were.
All right. Little snake.
That was close. It was close. Let me add you guys in there.
You're a silly little snake.
Yep. Brett Johnson and Kevin Jacks. All right. Let's go.
Snake.
I already got tyrannical goat. We got you, O Martinez.
Silly little snake. Silly little snake.
We good? All right. We're
good now.
Poll is closed. The poll is closed. We're spinning. And I will let Shawn be the witness so that there is no foul play. And the winner of the shirt is one of the last guys to get in, Kevin Jacks.
Hey,
congratulations. You are the winner of our shirt. So make sure to reach out to us through Twitter. If you don't have Twitter, let us know you don't have Twitter. But also drop your handle in here so we know it's you, and don't give your shirt away to somebody else, because if your name is like, name and bunch of numbers on there, we might not know. But congratulations, and of course we're gonna have more giveaway items, you guys, so don't worry. We will be stealing whatever we can from the Arizona Diamondbacks. They tend to like to give us stuff, and they want us to give it to you guys, so we're happy to pass that along. And we thank you guys so much for being here in the chat, not just today but all the time. We always appreciate you guys joining us. We can't thank you enough. Make sure, if you haven't had a chance, to check out some of our partners, of course, to make you look good and to decorate your house and all the baseball necessities that you need. First, check out our Pins and Aces partner. It's our official golf apparel partner of PHNX and ALLCITY. Pins and Aces makes incredible gear. They have some wonderful polos that are comfortable, stretchy, airy. They have great patterns. It's a family-owned golf and apparel business. They also have hats, golf bags, beer sleeves, and so much more. So make sure to check out everything that they have over there. Also, check out our guys at Big Drive Energy. They're a golf podcast if you like such things. So do that as well. You can check out pinsandaces.com and use code PHNX to receive 15% off your first order and get free shipping. That's pinsandaces.com. And also, little guys over here, if you want yourself a little Lego set that makes into a Arizona Diamondbacks logo that you put together,
yes.
right? You got this little piece of work of art right here. And of course, we have the Serpientes jersey that we're still mad won't debut in Mexico next season. But all sorts of wonderful collectibles from our friends at FOCO, which is a leading manufacturer of sports and entertainment merchandise with a product line that includes apparel, accessories, toys, collectibles, and so much more. Everything you need for baseball season, they got you covered. Aloha shirts, straw hats. If you didn't win this one, you can get a Diamondback shirt over there that looks just like this, and so much more. So make sure to check out what they got. We always love the stuff FOCO has to offer, and FOCO always has our back for Arizona sports. Of course, they have yours back as well. Get the best gear around by visiting FOCO.com and use code PHNX. For all non-presale items, use the promo code PHNX for 10% off. Well, we thank you guys again for joining us. Of course, Jesse will be back tomorrow. We're going to have our post-game show after that first game against the Toronto Blue Jays. Should be around 7 o'clock tomorrow night. So hopefully, fingers crossed, make sure to join us for that. In the meantime, you can follow us all on Twitter. I'm at Cap_caveman with a K. This guy next to me is at Shawn_DePaz. We are Damon's Dogs. Of course, Damon is at Damon Dog. That's DAWG on Twitter. That is the maniac behind the Mac. Jesse, why not? Follow him as well. He's at Jesse N. Friedman. And like I said, he'll be back tomorrow. We hope he had a safe and wonderful trip. We hope you guys enjoyed the show. Of course, our show is at PHNX D-backs, and all roads lead to at PHNX_sports on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. We thank you guys again so much for being here in the chat. Congrats again to Kevin Jacks. So, of course, Kevin Jacks, you're on Threads. You're making me do that, really? All right, well, get at me on Threads, Kevin Jackson. We'll make sure to get you out that t-shirt. Congratulations again. Of course, we thank the rest of you as well for being here. As always, We appreciate your time. And remember, kids, baseball is fun, but it is so much more fun when you remain consistent with your new rules.